How you going?
hello, happy people. How are you out there?
Yeah,
How was your day?
it's pretty good actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really good. Not too much traffic.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I think I gotta leave that time 4:30 in the morning because it's like not so much traffic. So
The early bird, der frühe Vogel fängt den Wurm. The early bird
catches the one.
catches the worm. It's crazy
Well,
because when I wake up in the
I
morning...
missed the traffic. I missed the traffic.
When I wake up in the morning with you together, it's like, and I send him off on the road, and then afterwards I'm going back inside into the house, and I'm like, whoa, I have so much time in front of me. It's like crazy. It's crazy when you get up so early in the morning.
We were talking about death a couple of days ago and stuff like that, and I want to go a little bit deeper on these things. Like there's just certain things that happen. I've known that happen to a few people and stuff like this. Like there's little things that you have all times that you shared with your parents that there's little things that resemble these times. It might be a thing or a football or whatever that brings up some memories. I remember when my father died, I hope people come up there and grab something to remember him by, which is like the craziest thing I've ever heard, you know. So it's pretty much everyone comes and grabs something for free to remember the person by. Things that were taken were things that really had a really deep impact in my life with my father. So I think it's really, really important that when someone dies, the children, first of all, get to decide what they want to keep that reminds them of their father or good memories and things like that. And I think we should, as people, remember this because, yeah, there's nothing, as a child, there's nothing longer in a child's life than the time it spends with its parents. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So we've got to be a little bit considerate about different things. Do you know what I mean? And I just wanted to touch up on that subject because there's things that have happened, and like my friend Damien told me about when his mum passed and stuff, and then he would go to someone's house and there'd be something there that was his mother's, and he said it used to really hurt him, you know. And this is a healing that the child goes through after their parent passes away. So it's really important to think about the children, I think, and how that football or that hockey stick or whatever it might be has some kind of attachment still to the child and parent, you know. And yeah, I just want to touch up on that because it got me thinking a few things that have happened in our lives and stuff like this. And I'm not saying stay attached to things, but sometimes when you lose a loved one, you keep these little memoirs of times you shared, you know? And I think it's super important that these times and things that the children have gone through, they relate to that certain thing, and it's good that they have their time with that before they can let it go. And yeah, I just wanted to say, because we were talking about death the other day, and it really got stuck in my mind about when I went back. As soon as my father passed, everyone went up there and grabbed something to remember him by. And for me, it's like one of those bullshit rules. I mean, when someone passes, you don't need something to remember them by.
Mm.
That's like a load of crap.
Yeah, like I remember also when my grandparents died, and like these, my mom and her brother, and also no, my brother, my mom and her brother were actually
Fighting over.
yeah, kind of like having hard discussions about who gets what and stuff like that, and
Well,
my
that's not
mom
bad, but it's
my
mother-
mom was more like whatever, but her brother was like very small minded in that. So yeah, I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
it's,
Someone's passed away, and for the children, sometimes it's really hard to cope. My sister found it also very hard to cope when my father passed. But yeah, what really got to me that how people took stuff that belonged to my time with my dad.
how was it
Yeah.
for you when your dad died? Like like what did
Well,
you?
there was things that were in that shed
Mm,
that everybody came to grab something of his
mm,
that had a really deep attachment to me,
mm,
and I needed time to be able to let those kind of things go.
mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And
I mean, you had anyway like a very complicated.
I had a very
relationship.
complicated relationship with my father, and those little special times. There was little things like the football or all that pump. They got me to pump up football, and there were certain little things that people just took that had no meaning to them, or even if they had meaning, they had a lot more meaning for me as his son, And so when I got there a few days later, and a lot of the things were missing, gifts also that I'd given to my father, and things that he had gifted to me that were in the shed were missing, and it made me super sad. And it also made me cold towards those people, because I thought to myself, you have no right to take that. You know what I mean? And you don't need something to remember someone by. You've got your memories and your thoughts and good feelings. And also when Damien told me about his mum, and he'd go to some cousins or some friend's place, and there'd be something there from his mum or whatever after she passed, and that's, I don't know, I think it's, you need time. When a family, especially your father or mother dies, you need time, because there's some things that are just like way above value, way above. And I think it's right for the children to be able to have that time with that thing. Do you know what I mean? And then if they want to pass it on, they can. But yeah, because there was like fishing rods that I had, and fishing reels that I'd given to my father for Father's Day and different things like that. That yeah, I wanted them back, but it's like an attachment, but it's like, that was little things that I remembered a good time, because I didn't have a really good time with my dad, and so those little things were happy times, Like to be able to give him a pen, send it to Rio, and hey, happy birthday, Dad, and I knew he always wanted one, and I got it for him. And so, yeah, it was, I think we have to be considerate on things like this, and also, because everyone's lost somebody, but when you lose probably one of the two people that actually caused you being alive, it sort of touches you a bit more, I think. Yeah. Even though we're trying to let go of attachments, but sometimes when there's death involved, we stay attached to certain things. And
well, we have to always remember that, like it's the person lives on inside of us.
Of course.
This is the most important part about the whole death situation. It's just passing on, like the person is passing on, and
this is like, actually, this is a
the
good
person
thing.
is living on, like emotionally and energetically inside of us.
Subject. And, it's like Dorothy's grandfather built a house in Spain. Back in the 70s, he got money from the World War and stuff like this, and he found a block of land and built it in Spain. me and Dorothy were together, and we've got a chance to live in that house, right? For as long as we want, whenever we want. But if you passed away, it wouldn't make the house mine because I'm your partner. Do you know what I mean? Because it's something that's like gone down hereditary. That was like my dad's, the fishing reel. I got a fishing reel made for him that was like really special. I remember it was a really great day with my dad that day when it was his birthday, and I gave him this fishing rod that this guy Mick Sini had made. He's a great, I don't even know if he's still alive, but he was like this great, he used to work with my father, but he was a great rod builder. So he'd build rods and he'd make them personalised. So, I got a little thing saying, to Dad, happy Father's Day, love you forever, And one of my dad's friends came up there and took it, It means nothing to him. It's just a free item. Do you know what I mean? And it bothered me a little bit. I mean, now I'm at a level of not having attachment, but when he passed away, it was like there's some things that I'd given to him that other people had taken. And it was like I found that kind of hard. Even though we're trying to let go of all of attachments, but I think when someone dies, you try to hold on to some good, and because I didn't have that many good times.
So why is
the
that?
few good
Like,
times.
why do you think you're holding on to things like in the beginning? Initially, why do we try to hold on to?
Well, we do because like at a time when someone like your parent passes, or your mother or your wife or your whatever, there's some things. It could be that clock sitting right there. You bought it. You told me you bought it when you started your new job and stuff like that. It's got an attachment. It's got a feeling for me. It's you mean, and these kind of little things. I think and it's not fair for anybody to take these little good memories. Do you understand? So I find it. Yeah. I found it really hard, and I actually didn't have good feelings for these people anymore. It's like I gave that rod to my dad for his Father's Day. Do you know what I mean? That was my dad. It's got nothing to do with you. I don't care if you your mates and drink your coffee together or whatever. It's like that was a present for me to him. It's like when my grandfather. I didn't meet my grandfather till later in life. Until I was about 11. Because my father and him were not speaking to one another for about, I don't know, must have been for about 12 years. So I never met my grandfather until he was apparently sick, and then he had asked for my father to go. And my father bought him a gold watch. It was a really nice gold watch with 3 diamonds on it, 2 at the top with the 12s and 1 at the bottom. And 1 at the bottom with the 6s. And when my grandfather passed, he passed that on to my father. And when my father passed, he passed that on to me. So it's not about the value of the watch. It's like hereditary thing. Do you know what I mean? And so we try not to have any attachments to anything because we're trying to be free. To give us a chance of having a good life, we've got to also a little bit sometimes think about other people, Yeah. And my mother was like, we could tell them to give it back and stuff like this. And I was like, that's just even worse. It was like, that's even worse, And and I suppose it was written in English and they're Greek, so I wouldn't have been able to understand what it said. But I mean, everybody understands English. But these were some painful things, and if you can't hold on to that thing and let go of the mourning and the stuff, I think things it takes you longer. It takes you longer to get over it. You know what I mean? And if you do care about my father as his mate, you would care about his son, because I have friends and I care about their children as well. Do you know what I mean? That's my mate's kids. Do you know what I mean? And so just wrap that up a little bit. It was like, we've got to not good to hold on to things, and we're trying to free ourselves from everything. But I think when death's involved, like we talk about, things take a little bit longer for you to get over. You know what I mean? And yeah, I don't know. I mean, your mother and brother and uncle were fighting, so it's like they're both
yeah,
kids.
but my mum,
but they're both kids of that person.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
But my mum, she was more like, yeah, whatever.
I know, because your mum the way she is, you know. But
it's like, I think, everybody is probably different, maybe in that also. Some are, need a little bit more time to get over certain things than others.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess.
But that's okay. That's okay.
In the end, it's always about, understanding that, we are, at one point we have to let go, right? Like,
yeah, definitely.
Because we had to also let go of the person, letting go of this person out of our life, because it is like it is. And we still can have conversations with that person inside of us. We still can grow with the person inside of us.
Definitely.
But it's, the physical, material, whole
Spiritual
concept of this person has passed on.
Yeah.
So,
So wrapping that up about my father's death anyway.
Yeah.
And deaths that we've all encountered, people have all encountered. I even have some friends that are so sad because their parents passed away with cancer and stuff like this, and they write things like, "Oh, you've missed so much," but they saw as much as they had to see. You know what I mean? And like our life and death, we don't really choose to die, because then a lot of people wouldn't choose to ever be dead. You know. But then also we don't get the chance or the luxury of choosing.
No, so we are like, like...
It's like birth. We don't really get the choice to say that we're being born, and we don't get the chance to say that when we're going to die.
Yeah, it can happen anytime. And we just live with the courage of going on living. The most important part is that we just don't forget to move on, like as hard as it sometimes seems,
Yeah,
life is sometimes really so hard, it's sometimes there are so many challenges and so many things that are, like that, that are standing in our ways, but like we have to make the next step and the next step and the next step, like some people decide not to make the next step. That's also okay. They decide for themselves.
They're not moving forward. It's not okay.
No, I mean, like, they decide to leave the world on their terms,
Oh, yeah.
That's their decision.
Yeah.
But normally, like, you try to go the next step and then the next step. And that's all you can do, You can't just try to make the next step. Just don't stop moving, And if you stop moving, then that's your decision, Like, we're not allowed to judge that. I mean, I would say we're not allowed to judge it. But if somebody decides to stop and not go on moving, that's how it is.
Yeah. And they said, the people left behind suffer, but that's the ego and pain body that's actually causing suffering. Hey, Kelly, that's actually the pain body and the ego that are suffering, because we want more. We're not happy with what we've had, as in the time we've shared with the person. And this is a really important thing with death, to be happy and cherish the times you had to share, because that's special.
Yeah, sometimes I think, like, what happens is that we feel like we have missed out on something, or we could have done something better with that, in that relationship.
That's what we were saying also, that you should always be on good terms with people, because you just never know when they're going to go.
But the thing is, like, what I think is so important always to remember is there's always a possibility for you to make things good, even if the person has passed on, if the person has transformed into a different energy form. There's
or
always
situations you might have caused because of the person passing on. There's also you've always got the chance.
You always have the chance to, to clear it up inside of you, and also, even if the person is not there, like physically there, it's still energetically there. There is still a possibility to heal something inside of you.
It's called cutting of the cords. Cutting of the cords is actually something when you've got an attachment to somebody. So if you've got, also it's a negative attachment, you can cut the cords between you. Spiritual people do it. I had my cords cut one time, or I went to get my cords cut. And I ended up in this field. And it's kind of really crazy. So I'm in this like vivid dream. I'm in this field and there's something going on down the hill. And as I'm getting closer, I'm realising there's someone there hanging from the tree. And as I got closer, I realised it was me. So I'd cut all cords, which is probably my negative cords, to myself, which was really kind of, the so-called witch who was doing the cutting of the cords was pretty amazing shock. She was, oh my God, I've never heard of that. And it was like, I was like, well, are the cords cut now or not, but yeah, you can cut cords, because sometimes we have really negative relationships to people. And if you have a negative relationship to someone, it's not going to really go good until it's fixed, until the negativity is gone.
Well, it's like, this cutting of the cords is also related to codependencies, like negative relationships are most of the times like, deep, like codependencies, like, it's not that you have a free heart-to-heart connection to that person. It's more like having like umbilical cord.
Like you're connected at the navel.
That is connecting you. And it's like, you're sucking each other's energy out, though, you cannot really do that, like we said the other day. But
when you realize you
can drain, like you can be drained by someone because, and the other person is drained by you because you're like...
negative emotions and stuff.
Yeah, and there's kind of like what we said the other day, I'm not fulfilled and the other person is not fulfilled, and then we're trying to fulfill each other, or try to fulfillment to get from the other person, and this is draining. It's just not, it's not very progressive, this kind of relationship. So in the end, to cut these cords,
and disconnect.
You need to really, go inside yourself, realize who are you codependent with, and really think of cutting this emotionally. And this is again a habit, right? This codependency doesn't happen from one day to the next. You have brought that since it has developed from your childhood into your adulthood.
People swap, but the codependency stays.
It's like it has programmed itself into you. So to cut these cords and to stop being codependent, and also playing out always these codependency patterns,
and plays.
It's really important to make a habit out of, like, cut this habitual acting
Acting.
of codependency, cut it out of your life, but practice this again and again, to act differently, to think more about yourself. And this is not selfish.
You're freeing yourself.
It's not selfish to think about yourself and what do I really need, because codependency means that you are thinking constantly about the other person. What does the other person need? I want to please the other person. I want to make the other person happy,
Instead of about ourselves.
Instead of doing that, think what makes me happy. And if that, like the thing that makes me happy, where I come to this makes me happy, if that would make the other person also happy, perfect, great. But that's not the point. It doesn't matter if it actually makes the other person happy, because if this makes you happy, where you find, okay, this really resonates with me and it really feels like it can make me happy, when you are happy inside and fulfilled, the other person is free. You're liberating the other person, and that's the biggest love gift that you can give to another person.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
So we're gonna make it short today, guys.
Because we're gonna have a long one tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna.
It's my
and
last
I
day
would
of work
love
tomorrow.
to go also a little bit deeper into relationship topics. What do you think about that? It's so interesting, and especially committed relationship topics. Like,
and also what one person, like, I won't go into it now, but like how much Dorothy's helped my way of being, my understanding.
Why do we come together? And like also try to understand the healing part of a committed relationship. So I love to look into that, and I would love to talk with you guys about that tomorrow. So we
last
love
day
you,
of getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Actually 3:30.
We love you, and
we
everybody, we see you tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Have a beautiful night.
Bye.